car. We left Arklow at about 6:30. We're on our second cup of tea. I know it's Monday morning this morning because it feels like Monday morning. I'm proper grumpy, proper miserable, proper fed up. So this is a realities of sailing video today. Don't smile because it's not funny. It rained in the night, so the boat is damp and horrible. The ceiling of our cabin was wet this morning. Even though I've got my waterproof over trousers on, I've got a wet bum from sitting on the deck and doing the lines first thing. Haven't had a shower since yesterday morning. My hair looks disgusting. I'm tired. I've got a headache. And I really didn't want to get up this morning. When that first cup of tea was brought to me, I know that's a first world problem, isn't it, to have, having your first cup of tea brought to you and not feeling like getting up. But the trouble is with the tide, you can't say, oh, I just have another half an hour. We had to get going this morning and catch the early tide or wait till tomorrow. And it's quite important today because where we're going, there are loads and loads of sandbanks. There's another wind farm over there. Loads of sandbanks. We're going to Kilmore Quay today, and it's going to be quite an involved passage for your man over there to keep an eye on things. Already he's keeping an eye on where we're going because of all these sandbanks. And to get into Kilmore Quay, we have to cross something called St Patrick's Bridge, which isn't a bridge at all. It's a very scary gap in a big reef. It is scary. I was just looking at the what's it called, that book, the sailing, the pilotage, island pilotage, whatever. Anyway, there's a book, Irish Sea Pilotage, and there's just a photo of a boat lying on its side aground, and it says it is not advisable to cross this reef anywhere other than the buoyed passage. So it's fairly serious stuff, really. It's just a good job I'm not at the helm, especially with how tired I am. So yeah, so that's me this morning. Miserable, tired, fed up. I just want to be in a nice warm bed. I want a bath. I want to wash my hair. My roots need dyeing again. And I haven't even got a proper mirror to look in, so I don't really know how awful I look. I just feel that I look awful. Anyway, enough of me moaning. I hope everybody has a nice Monday. I know it's definitely Monday today, and I'm sure that later on I will feel much better. One of us is cheerful.
This is one of those legs where you have to basically sail the course rather than sailing the wind and making your way where you're going, because you've got sandbars or gravel bars left and right of you most of the way. So, as you probably noticed, we motor sailed much of this just to make the progress we needed, because the tide's also important, and it's a long enough leg that you've got to make adequate progress to get there without running out of tide. You get down to the bottom end here, and there's a couple of rocks to avoid, so you go quite a way past the headland until you get to Barrel's East Cardinal Mark, and from there you head to St Patrick's Bridge. And once you go through the buoy channel, you find the fairway mark, and then you pick up the leading marks on the shore to take you into the harbour. We saw a couple of boats making a complete hash of coming out. That's because they hadn't worked out what heading they would need for the tide. I'll be looking at that in a separate video.
I'm going to video this just because it's really fascinating. This is St Patrick's Bridge that I mentioned earlier. It's not a bridge at all. So we have to go through these two buoys. You can see the green one on the left here, and there's a red one across the other side. I don't know if you can see on the video here, but there's a definite change in the surface of the water just ahead. So the reef, well, we're not sure whether it's a reef or a sandbar, runs from that island over there right across to Kilmore, which is over there. And yeah, this is the only bit that you can get through safely. And we're at just gone high tide, so we know we've got plenty of water. I hope we've got plenty of water. And it's not, we expected it to get a bit rougher here as well, just because it's sort of funneling through. It's not too bad, it's a little bit more choppy, but it's just really fascinating. So there you go. I'm going to put my phone down just in case we do hit anything and my phone gets knocked out of my hands.
The leading line is based on 2 marks just outside the harbour entrance on the beach. I got on the transit and unfortunately then had to get off it because 2 boats that came out both got taken way off the transit by the tide and were fighting their way back onto it, which meant that I was the giveaway vessel when we came to be in conflict. So I tried to stay as close to the transit as I can because it's quite shallow off to the sides, and just gave them way and then got back on the transit. I'll do a separate video on how they could have avoided this by working out the heading they needed beforehand or doing it in their heads as they left the harbour, but that's another story. Transit marks do start to become more clear as you get closer in towards the entrance. You'll see that as we arrive at the entrance I have to come off it again though to give way to a vessel coming out. Harbour Master gave me 2 points to add. He said, first off, if you're visiting Kilmore Quay, please contact them to let them know you're coming. Apparently quite a lot of foreign boats, particularly French boats, just turn up, and he said it makes life much more difficult for them to give you the most appropriate berth for your vessel and for how long you're going to be there. The second one is, when I called up to let him know I was on my way in from the safe water mark, he allocated me a berth and said, bow in port side 2. In the usual way, I presumed he was telling me which side of the finger berth I was going to be, and so when I arrived and started to go starboard side 2, stern in, he said, what about me telling you to come in bow in and port side 2? And I said, I thought you were just allocating the berth, and he said, no, I needed you to come in bow 2 because of the shape of the space, because of the large vessel next to you. So it's one of those culture and language things. I just heard what I normally hear from marinas in the south coast, and in fact here what he told me was what he wanted me to do. So we had to go back out, turn around, re-rig and come back in again. A lovely place, well worth visiting. Harbour Master was great, so please work with him and let him know if you're coming. He just wants the chance to make life easier for you when you arrive. Well, as always, I really hope you found that either enjoyable or interesting, or better still both. If so, please click subscribe, click like, smash that bell icon. All these things really help the channel to grow. Do come back soon.